Welcome back to Vintage Disney on Brian's Things That Are Cool. Today's going to be my very first music review. Fess Parker's Cowboy and Indian Songs from 1957. But first, here's a little bit of history about Fess. Fess Parker was born in Fort Worth, Texas on August 16, 1924. During World War II, Fess enlisted in the U.S. Navy, hoping to become a pilot, but was turned down because at 6'6" he was too tall. So he became a radio man gunner. Unfortunately, he was too tall for that job as well, and ultimately became a radio operator and shipped for the South Pacific just as the war came to an end. Fess entered the world of acting in 1951 when he was given a $32 a week job as an extra in the play Mr. Roberts. Within months, he had a minor part in the Shelley Winters picture Untamed Frontier. Fess came to the attention of Walt when Walt, then making casting decisions for his upcoming Davy Crockett TV series, was asked to view the giant ant picture then to see actor James Arness, who had the lead role in the movie. Fess had a small role as a pilot put into an insane asylum after claiming his plane had been downed by giant flying insects. For whatever reason, Walt stood up and said, "That's my Davy Crockett," and the rest is history. Now that we know a little bit about the man behind the music, let's discuss the songs themselves. The Ballad of Davy Crockett was written by George Bruns, with lyrics by Grant Sherman Henry and Thomas W. Blackburn for Disney's Davy Crockett TV series, which premiered on December 15, 1954 on ABC. The first record released of the song was by Bill Hayes, followed quickly by Fess's, and then Tennessee Ernie Ford had a hit version in February of 1955. In fact, all three versions hit the Billboard charts. Davy Crockett, the man who don't know fear. The Ghosts of the Old San Juan is my favorite song on this album. This was a traditional Colorado folk song, which was popular among river runners of the Colorado River and the Grand Canyon, and was later recorded in 1964 by activist and folk singer Katie Lee on her album Folk Songs of the Colorado River. This song perfectly captures the adventure of life on the river.
Ain't nothing left but the old San Juan and the ghost of the wild old river.
Pecos Bill was originally recorded by the Sons of the Pioneers for the 1948 Walt Disney picture Melody Time. The character of Pecos Bill originates from stories written by Edward O'Reilly in 1917 for Century Magazine. From 1929 to 1938, O'Reilly and friend Jack A. Warren published a comic strip based on the character. O'Reilly claimed they were part of an oral tradition of tales told by cowboys during the westward expansion. But most folklorists believe O'Reilly invented the stories himself and referred to the tales as fake lore, much like Paul Bunyan, who had his origins as an advertising mascot for the Red River Lumber Company in 1916.
Then he straddled it and settled down with ease.
Hunter's Return is a song written by Stan Jones and is the tale of a Native American woman whose husband hasn't returned from a hunting trip, leaving her to defend her child from a pack of wolves. Like with Jones' Ghost Riders in the Sky, it's a more modern song that tricks the listener into thinking it's existed for hundreds of years. But I feel Ghost Riders is a stronger song. Still, as a folk song, it perfectly conjures up the images of the hard life in the American West. Old Timer is a cowboy ballad about an older horse facing the great beyond. There's not a whole lot to say about this song other than it has a great cowboy feel and sounds like it would fit perfectly in a Roy Rogers or Gene Autry picture. Hear us, O Lord. Much of this album can be considered a soundtrack to the 1956 Walt Disney picture Westward Ho! The Wagons. Westward Ho! The Wagons was based on the Mary Jane Carr novel about the perils and hardships endured by the pioneers traveling the Oregon Trail. The film stars Fess, George Reeves in his final picture, Kathleen Crowley, and the Musketeers. Pioneer's Prayer is a spiritual that features prominently in the picture. Also from Westward Ho! The Wagons, Ringle Wrangle. This was another song written by Stan Jones, who also wrote Hunter's Return. Westward Ho! The Wagons was Walt Disney's first feature-length Western, and Fess Parker was already established with kids as Davy Crockett. So, when the script called for Fess to get a kiss from co-star Kathleen Crowley, Walt agreed, but not too much, because he said, the kids will resent it.
Ringle, wrangle, ding-a-dong-dang.
The Ballad of John Colter is a history song in the vein of Johnny Horton and tells the story of the famed mountain man and the Blackfoot tribe. This is another song from Westward Ho! The Wagons, and Fess sings this to a few of the Musketeers who appeared in the picture, including Tommy, Doreen, Cubby, and Karen. Doreen was a last-minute replacement in the movie for Darlene, who unfortunately caught pneumonia and had to drop out of the picture.
Sing of the bravest mountain man, sing of the strong and the fleet. Coulter's courage was in his heart, and his speed was in his feet.
I'm Lonely, My Darling is a variation on the traditional folk song entitled Green Grow the Lilacs, which was written in 1848 during Texas's war with the Mexicans. This was a favorite tune of the Texans, who sang it so often that the Mexicans, mishearing the lyrics, started referring to the soldiers as gringos, which is where that word comes from. The song was later recorded by Johnny Cash on his 1965 album, Johnny Cash Sings Ballads of the True West.
I hope to prove true and exchange the green lilacs for the red, white, and blue.
A Cowboy Needs a Horse came from an earlier Walt Disney short of the same name from 1956 about a young boy named Johnny who dreams of being a cowboy, and the song tells Johnny just what he might need to make his dream come true. Fess did not sing the version included in the animated short, but he does a good job here.
The cowboy needs a hat, needs a hat, needs a hat, and he ought to have a rope, have a rope, have a rope, if he wants to keep riding.
I Gave My Love the Riddle Song is a traditional English folk song dating back to the 15th century with varying titles including Child Ballad, Riddles Widely Expounded, and Captain Wedderburn's Courtship. The tune was later adapted in 1956 as the song The 12th of Never, which Elvis Presley recorded in 1974. This is probably the weakest song on the album for me, as I find the lyrics rather inane, and I'm always reminded of the scene from National Lampoon's Animal House. Maybe I wouldn't make a good folk connoisseur.
Now good night.
We end the album with another track written by Stan Jones, Good Night Little Wrangler. The song, like all of the cowboy ballads written by Stan Jones, paints some beautiful imagery of life out west, and again, wouldn't be out of place in a Gene Autry picture.
As they blink their purple eyes.
I hope you enjoyed my discussion of Fess Parker's Cowboy and Indian songs. If you enjoyed it, I would highly recommend Fess Parker's 1964 album, Great American Heroes, which is comprised of story songs of American heroes such as George Washington, Lewis and Clark, and Ben Franklin. If you enjoy Johnny Horton, you'd like this album quite a bit. Thank you for watching. I'm Brian, and I'll see you next time.